Morning, everybody, and welcome to what I know for many of us is the most exciting part of PyCon UK. No, everybody loves a good AGM, don't they? So this is the annual general meeting, the AGM of the UK Python Association, often known as the UKPA. And I know many of you have had to sit there listening to me explain this over and over and again over the years, but we have so many wonderful new people that you're just going to have to sit and listen to me do it all over again, I'm afraid. The UK Python Association is a registered charity, and it is the body that is behind the PyCon UK event. So we are a public registered charity. That means we're registered with the Charity Commission. It means there are various things that we have to do in order to remain as a charity, and one of them is we have to have this meeting each year. So, but who is at this meeting? Who are the members of the UKPA? Well, you are. If you buy a ticket to PyCon UK, even if you don't buy it, if somebody buys it for you, if you have a ticket to PyCon UK, you are entitled to membership of the UK Python Association. And when you got your ticket, we asked you if you would like to be a member, and your badge, if you can't remember what you said, your badge will tell you. If you didn't know what that meant when you got your ticket, and you said no, and you're now sitting here thinking, maybe I should have said yes, that's fine. The fact that you are here means you are entitled to membership, and if you would immediately like to change your mind and be a member, then just do that, and you are. Now, the charity, or all charities, are run by a set of people called the trustees. So this is very similar to the directors of a company or the governors of a school. And that is all described in a fascinating document that I know you will all have read inside out, just like I have. So our governing document is our constitution, and that is a document that's registered with the Charity Commission. It's available on our GitHub repo, so if you find the UK Python Association on GitHub, if you really want to, you can go and have a look at our constitution. And what that says about the trustees is that we have up to 6 elected trustees. So those 6 trustees are elected by you, the members. And at the moment, we have 5 out of those 6 slots filled. And those people are, well, I'm one of them. And I'm going to glance around the room. Vince, if you could stand up, give us all a wave. Vince is one of the elected trustees. Gail, I haven't seen this morning, but is she here? Well, Gail Ollis, who you may also have seen around wearing one of these, is one of the 6. Who have I got left? We then have Tanya Allard, who hasn't been able to make it to the conference at all, unfortunately, this year, and Christian Glass, who also has not been able to make it this year. So those are our 5 out of a possible 6 elected trustees. We do have one more trustee. So the way our constitution works is that the elected trustees then appoint the conference director. So it's the elected trustees who get to choose who the conference director will be. That was last done a little while ago, and whoever it is that's chosen is then entitled to be a trustee as well if they wish to. And we all know who our wonderful conference director is. And Anne decided to avail herself of such a fine opportunity, so she is our other trustee, but she's not elected by you, like the rest of us are. So there are 2 items of business that we need to conduct at this meeting. The first concerns another fascinating document that I'm sure you'll all be reading at bedtime this evening. So every year we need to submit a report to the Charities Commission. It's a fairly standard document. There are headings on there that they tell us we have to fill in. And actually for us, most years, none of that content changes because the nature of what we're doing doesn't change. So we kind of send them the same report mostly year after year. But we do have to tell them what has occurred in the year that's just gone by and what is it that we're intending to do in the future. So that bit changes. And we, the trustees, are required to come to this meeting and present this document to you. Now, the law doesn't say anything about what present means. So, I mean, I've been at some AGMs where somebody has stood up and read this out, word for word. So I'm not going to do that to you. I could get away with, here it is, and call that my presentation, but that's probably not entirely in the spirit of what we're about. So, the main piece, you are, of course, all entitled, perfectly welcome to go and find that document. Again, it's on our GitHub repository. The end result, the PDF, is also on the uk.python.org website. So if you want to see what we are sending to the Charity Commission, it's all there in public. You can even see the commit history of all of my typos as I wrote the thing. So the bit in there that's really of interest, I suppose, is where are we at, what are we up to, what's going on? And I think this year, the main content in there must be fairly obvious to all. We've had to cancel this conference for the last 2 years. We, like everybody else, have been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. We had to cancel the conference, but actually, if you look at our organization, again, those of you that have been coming for some years will have noticed that there are some familiar faces that just aren't here anymore, and they haven't been around for some while. All of the effects of that pandemic, people losing their health, their livelihood, their loved ones, watching their loved ones and close ones losing their health, livelihood, and worse. To one degree or another, we as an organization have been hit by that just like every other organization, and it's taken its toll on the capacity that we have available. Even if we hadn't been forced to cancel the conference, I don't believe we would have been capable of running it. And which brings us to this year. So at the point where we need to start thinking about whether we're going to run the conference, which is kind of New Year-ish. Well, it should be. It normally ends up February or March, if we're really honest. But of course, the world was very uncertain. We had absolutely no idea whether we were just in a trough and another wave of COVID was going to come along and hit us. But we felt that we needed to run this conference this year. We needed to do something. If we could, we really wanted to put something on. But we knew that with the people that we had lost, we couldn't do it at the sort of scale that we've done in the past. So again, if you've been here before, that's very obvious. We are 2.5 days, not 5. We've capped the number of people that are here to about half of what it was in 2019. 1 track of talks, not 3, no Django Girls, no Kids Day. But that was a very conscious effort to say, if we look at the team that we've got, what can we very definitely do and make a success of it? And I think we all owe Anne a huge round of applause for the fact that she did. Now, I'm sure she's going to get on this stage at some point and claim that it was a team effort and that she did very little and everything was done for her. It's not true. Well, it was a team effort, but it's not true that she didn't do anything. And so where do we want to go next? Well, I stood on this stage a few years back and I listed out various things that the UKPA wanted to do. Chief among them was that the old limited company that used to exist that you bought your tickets from, what we really wanted to do was to finish off the job of setting up the UK Python Association by creating a trading company that's wholly owned by the charity. So you can set things up in a way that says this is a limited company that makes profit, so it sells tickets, but because it's wholly owned by the charity, there's only one place the profit can go to. And there are various good reasons for doing things that way that are to do with VAT and tax and stuff. But we haven't got that done. Again, because everything just ground to a halt a couple of years back. So You may have noticed that when you bought your ticket this year, you were buying it from exactly the same limited company as you did in 2019. Now, it's not that we've made no progress. The trading company that we want does exist. It is a wholly owned subsidiary of the charity, but it has no cash. So the bit that we haven't done is to close down the original company and transfer the funds across. And that's purely because it's just not a simple thing to do. For good reason. It shouldn't be simple to just wind a company down, empty its bank account, and move the funds somewhere else. Turns out it's not simple to do, and we haven't finished it yet. So I stood here 3 years ago and said that that's what we wanted to do, and I'm afraid I'm standing here again saying that's what we would like to do for this time next year. But what we really want to do is to get this conference back on its feet. So we would really like to see this conference next year being back where it was in 2019. So I've just listed you a few of the things that we haven't done this year. Next year, we want to do them again. So we want Django Girls, we want the Kids' Day, we want to be back at 5 days, we want the sprints, and the other things that I've forgotten that I mentioned earlier. So that's really, the aim is to get ourselves back on our feet. And this was the first step in that. I think it's been a huge success in getting us all in this room again. And the next step for next year is to get us back to where we were in 2019. So that's my version of, here's this document. Now, the second item of business, the second of two, so we're nearly done, is the Constitution requires that every year, 1/3 of the elected trustees must retire. So this is to make sure that nobody can just get onto the board of trustees and then sit there for life and there's nothing that you can do about it. So every year, 1/3, or whichever is the closest number. So for us this year, that's 2 of us, because there are 5 elected trustees. So 2 of us must step down, and that's done by who's been a trustee for the longest since they were elected. Now, this year, that's me and Christian. So I can't remember when we were elected, but wherever it is, it's longer ago than any of the other elected trustees. So in a moment, Christian and I will retire as trustees, and then we will hold an election for all those people who have put their names forward to be elected onto the board of trustees. So for a short moment, I'm going to be standing on this stage, but not a trustee. But we're okay, because the other trustees have said they don't wish to stand here and take over from me. So I'm going to continue chairing this meeting, even though I'm not a trustee. So I'm now retiring. I am no longer a trustee. Christian is also retiring, which leaves us with 3 slots to fill. And 2 people have come forward and said that they would like to stand for election. I'm one of them. And Christian is the other. But you have the opportunity to kick us out if you're not happy with the way we've been doing things. So, I would like to see a show of hands for all of those people who are in favour of electing Christian Glass for another term as a trustee of the UKPA. And if there is anybody who is not in favour of that, please make yourself known. Wonderful. Okay, Christian will probably be watching this on YouTube very shortly, so Christian, there is no escape. Now, I would also like to put myself forward to be elected once more, so could I have another show of hands, all those people who are in favour of me doing another term as a trustee? Thank you very much indeed. And if there is anybody who does not like that idea, great. So, we are now... That means I get to step over the line again, doesn't it? Right, so we are now back at our complement of 5 trustees. That does leave us with one gap. There's some provision in our constitution for how we might go about filling that if we wanted to. There are no plans to do so right now, so nobody needs to get nervous that I'm about to tap them on the shoulder and press gang them into joining us. We are allowed to have a slot, but there are ways in which we can fill that if we think that's appropriate. And that is the end of our annual general meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Owen. He's overrun, frankly, you know. I mean, previous record, I think, was 12 minutes for the AGM, so we're at 17 now, but we'll let you off.
No lightning talks behind it.
Yes, exactly. Yes, so, yeah, are you saying that you'd rather listen to lightning talks than me speak? Is that what you said to me just there, right now, right here? Right, okay, so I am going to do a very brief welcome and a couple of other matters of business in the 12 minutes that we've got remaining. I am mostly going to use this welcome this morning. I'm not going to repeat a lot of things I've already said because I think most of you have sat through it once already. So I'm going to basically do a few thank yous for the event. So once again, I am just going to say thank you to our sponsors. I actually think they've been a fantastic set of sponsors this year in terms of the way that they have been supportive of the flexibility and adaptability that we've had to demonstrate, and just in being a part of the whole of our conference and getting involved. So our huge thanks to them. If you're on Twitter, there have been a couple of posts out thanking the sponsors as well, so please do take the opportunity just to interact with those. It helps us in terms of support for those sponsors, but also when we're looking for sponsors next year, we can persuade them that they would like to part with their cash and support our conference. And as I know I've said at least twice in this conference, if we did not have the sponsor, your ticket would have cost you twice what you paid for it. So Welsh cakes aside, that's got to be worth it. Then I'm just going to move on to do a few thank yous. I know I've spoken in previous mornings about the things that make this happen, and this time I'm just going to take the opportunity to say thank you. And as Owen said, the organising and preparation for PYCON UK all years and this year is a team effort. So I have shown this slide already, but what I would like to do is have those of us who are actually at the conference to pop up on the stage, show your faces, and we will have a big thank you and a round of applause. And I include in that, whose name's not on the list, but also Mark Smith, our great MC of Lightning Talks and Bucket Chat. So if you would all like to make your way to the stage.
Can I just say, not forgetting Anne? Okay, so I'm not going to let you go just yet, hang fire, because that was a nice round of applause, but I've heard you do way better than that at Lightning Talks. Now, I know Chris isn't in the audience with his clapometer, but nonetheless, and I know there are fewer of you than there are for Lightning Talks, nonetheless, I want a little bit more clapping, whooping, stamping of feet, general cheering, and saying thank you to these good people who have given up their time for the best part of a year and helped make this conference happen. So one more round of applause for all of these people right here. And if you see them at the conference for the rest of today, they may well need a coffee, so go and find them a coffee. So I will let you all go now and no longer be in the spotlight. You're welcome. I am just, as we all file off, going to do a couple of other thank yous. I want to say a quick thank you to everybody who has volunteered at the conference this year. People who have chaired sessions, people who have helped on the welcome desk, people who have generally checked that everything has in the room what it's supposed to have and all of that sort of thing. We really do appreciate that. The volunteers are what makes this conference happen. If you are going to join us next year, then if you would like to volunteer, please do so again. If you've never volunteered before,
next year might be the time that you consider volunteering. So I want to give a huge round of applause to all the volunteers that have helped with this. So a big thank you to everybody. And sort of related to that, I'll get on to my other thank yous in a minute. Owen spoke obviously about the work that the UKPA want to achieve and things that we want to do. And the fact that, we have been of lesser capacity this year in terms of organisers and UKPA folk. If you are interested in sitting on a call once a fortnight with me, and I mostly try and remember to not be running in the park that I'm supposed to be at the meeting, then get in touch with us, because we are looking for people to join the volunteer organisers and help us out with next year's conference. So if that's something you'd be interested in doing, drop us an email or get in touch with us on Twitter or whatever else, and just many hands make light work, so a few more hands would be very much appreciated. I'll just carry on with my thank yous. Yes, I have enough time to do that quickly. I want to say a huge thank you to the City Hall staff. There's been lots of people around, and they've made sure we've got food at the right time. They've made sure that there's plenty of coffee, Welsh cakes, fruit, cream cakes. I noticed yesterday, chocolate brownies, I believe, but you had to be in there quick. But just generally, the amount of help they've had checking what time we want the door to open in the morning. Do we need to go have a space for loading and unloading? All these things that we actually probably had forgotten between this year and the last time we ran the conference, they've just dealt with all of that for us. So my intention was I would ask one of the members of City Hall staff to step in so we could give them a round of applause and pass that on to the rest of the staff. I admitted to do that bit, but let's just make a really loud noise for them anyway, and hopefully they're here and they'll know. Huge vote of thanks to Cheryl and Julia, who sit there in the corner making sense of all of us saying random things on the stage, weird technical terms, our names, people who speak too fast and therefore is like, what did she say? I need to write that. I certainly could never do it. So, and it's part of what we want to have at the conference. So, we want to be as inclusive and as accessible as possible. So having the STTRs, and I really have forgotten what the acronym stands for this morning, is something that we are committed to, and we really appreciate all their efforts and hard work. So a huge round of applause, please, for Cheryl and Julia. My next thank you goes to Mark, who I can see hiding at the back there. So Mark Hawkins is our photographer. He's been doing a sterling job, popping in and out of places and taking photos. Day 1 and day 2 photos are already linked to from our website, so you can go and see if you can spot yourself. And some really lovely photos where you've just captured people in the moment, not where they're standing and posing for the camera, and throngs of people talking to sponsors and all sorts of things like that. So we appreciate all the hard work and effort, and the fact that he took the photos yesterday, and by about 10 o'clock last night, I had a message saying they're available for you to look at. I mean, fair play. It's like, so a big, huge round of applause to Mark, who's there at the back. I'm going to say a quick thank you now to a part of the organisation that most of you probably haven't seen this year. We do have Brecon Mobile Creche. Claire and her team are in the room just around the corner. I can't remember which letter it's got. We haven't actually had any small people who've made use of the creche this year, but that is absolutely fine. But they have still been here, and they've been set up, and they've got activities and toys for the children to play with, etc. And again, that's a really important factor to us, that we do offer a creche, that makes perhaps this conference more accessible and available to people who otherwise might not be able to attend. And I had a conversation with them, and they were like, well, there hasn't been anybody, so you might not want us next year. And I made it quite clear to them that we will be having a creche next year, and even if no child turns up for the creche for the entire conference, there will still be a creche available for conference attendees to use. So a big thank you to Claire and her team. I am going to just quickly hand over to Mark. He's going to do a summary bucket chat because there are a couple of little changes this evening, and then I've got one more slide once you're done, Mark.
Yes, this will be very quick. I don't even have buckets. Anybody here not know what lightning talks are? Anybody here not know how to submit a talk for the lightning talks later today? Excellent. So we'll be collecting the buckets at 11 o'clock, and the lightning talks will be at 12:30. So you've got an hour and a half to get your suggestions in, and then we'll have fantastic lightning talks at 12:30, and I will see you there.
And I will just add to that there will only be half an hour of lightning talks today. The way we've scheduled the programme, it's 12:30 till 1 for lightning talks. The formal proceedings will close at 1 at the end of the lightning talks. And we will have lunch. We are going to feed you before you go home. But we've got packed lunches today. So please do collect your packed lunch. You are welcome to come and chat to everybody, still be here, but there won't actually be anything scheduled in the programme between 1 and 2, but there will be packed lunch available for you, so if you need to dart off or whatever else, then we've got that for you. And no, I'm actually going to save that slide until the end of the lightning talk, so I'm going to stop right now, and I'm going to hand over to Vince, who is chairing the sessions this morning, and will introduce you to... Says she. We'll introduce you to the speaker whilst I get my power supply.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Anne.